Can you just say who you are and what your position is at Ubisoft, please?
Okay. I'm Jean-Sebastien Decant, lead game designer on Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
Okay, you've showcased some of the elements of the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game compared to current generation systems. How far do you think the gap is between the two in terms of ease of development and the cost of development?
Oh, that would be for my producer to answer, but I will tell you that this game is a part of the transition period. So we started it on current gen. At the same time, we were using PC, high-end PCs to think about what we could do, especially visually, with the game. In terms of cost, it's more like Martin uses this idea of a box, like 360, it's like a box that size. Xbox One is a box that size, so we can do some things we couldn't before, especially with the levers.
Yeah.
We could push the effects at 11, and that's what we did for the next gen. The visual effects are put at 11 compared to the current gen. But because it was the game of the transition and ported on 6 platforms at the same time, we didn't go into super details on each and every platform. So yeah, the PlayStation 4, we have also multi-screen with the Vita features, but all the rest, you're going to experience the same game on any platform.
Okay. So you're saying it's a transition game.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that perhaps the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions have held back the next generation versions to a degree?
I would say that we, as a developer community, are discovering what next gen is going to bring. We're thinking about it, it's been a while, but it's really now that it's going to start. And I would say that maybe there are some little features that we already have in the game, and on 360 for instance, that are hinting at the future. Like for instance, I don't know if you noticed, but when you finish a mission, there is a rating. You can rate the mission. This is something that in the fantasy is justified because you're a researcher for Abstergo now, and you're working on the Edward Kenway's life, and you can rate his segments, so that's the fantasy. But on a more practical level, this is a way to get direct feedback from the players, to understand what they like most and what they dislike. And maybe there is something we think is great and they dislike it. We'll try to see if we can enhance it or we should put it on the side. And also this idea of communication in between the player and the developers is going to become more and more constant. And we have to consider games almost like platforms now. Platforms that will have updates very, very often. Updating a game on console now is going to be much more simpler than before, almost like iOS. So you won't even be aware that we may have changed something, and we could do events for like Christmas and stuff like that. So yeah, these are hints to the future. The other thing is, in the fleet game, you can like capture ships, and then you use them in a menu-based game where you can send your ships all around the world for trading missions and earn a lot of money, or just do little battles, tactical battles. This brings a lot of money to upgrade your ship. We also added a social option in that game, meaning that if, for instance, we were friends on Xbox 360, I would see that you have ships that are going somewhere, but it's going to take 20 more hours. I could speed up the ships, and then I would get some bonuses in exchange. So we can help each other. And I think that the social aspects, the interconnectivity, the fact that you have a single player experience, but at the same time it's a multiplayer experience, I think it's steps toward the future.
Okay. What's your kind of opinion on cloud-based technology, and especially what you've just said with the social interaction and updates? Has that been incorporated into the next-gen versions?
Not really. We've been thinking about it, but it would have created too many differences in the code. But seriously, just as a consumer, or just when I see what happens around, I think the cloud-based technology is amazing. And actually, we don't even know what we're going to be able to do with it, beyond just amassing data in the air.
So would you say then that next generation gaming in terms of updates will become more like PC gaming is now?
Yes, like Steam.
Yeah.
Like what they do with Left 4 Dead, for instance. Like one day you play a level, it's in a certain shape, and the day after, shit, close that door. And yeah, this is gonna happen. I'm not saying it's gonna happen with Black Flag, but I'm certain we're going in that direction, yes.
Okay. It's obvious a lot of ideas have been thrown into Assassin's Creed during its development, was there always an idea that heading to the Caribbean would feature in the series?
You know, when we're developing a series and we try to have a steady stream of titles being released, we have to plan ahead. So there is a roadmap for Assassin's Creed for the years to come, including the movies and the comic books and the toys, and for sure. But at the same time, there are opportunities that could rise. And I would say that probably Black Flag has been one of these opportunities. There was the development of AC3 and the Singapore studio. They were making this naval package, you know, that was really nice in AC3. And people within the Brown team, the one that are thinking about the future of Assassin's Creed, they saw a great opportunity to create some kind of a new open world experience where we could mix ground and naval. And at the same time, this also could open doors for expanding an Assassin's Creed experience. So very quickly it led to going to Paris and to greenlit the game, because I mean this is one of the biggest fantasy that is touching absolutely almost everyone in the world. Pirates, looting stuff, doing whatever you want, whenever you want.
So what is the kind of design process with regards to the team of people working on putting in ideas into the game? I mean, obviously a lot of stuff won't get used. You know, what is the criteria for saying that's a great idea?
Yeah.
Let's keep that in the game and kind of fit that into the game.
But first you have the legacy. Assassin's Creed exists already, and you have rules that you have to follow. Or if you break them, you have to be very cautious or very smart. But and then in terms of ideas, I think they are first centered around concepts that are created by the creative director and the producer. And like for instance on this one, there was the question, the idea of fluidity. How could we make a game that would be fluid and seamless? And then, as I was saying, there's the question of freedom. What's the game that is going to offer you a lot of freedom? And then there was also the idea of we want a game with challenge. So in between seamless, challenge, and I'm losing my thoughts now. But in between these three things, you have naturally you will have ideas like what does that mean to have freedom? Okay, maybe we should be able to instead of segmenting the game as it was before, like when you do a mission you cannot do anything else, let's try to have everything working together. But if we do that, how are we going to do it? The AI, how are they going to behave? And also, how are we going to convey the information to the player? So we've redone a lot of the interface in order to sustain that. You can do a fort while in a mission and with an assassin mission also. So that's freedom, for instance. Also, ideas, they're going through a group, the directors group. They are going to challenge the ideas. Sometimes the idea is so obviously fitting with what we're doing that nobody is discussing it and will implement it. Others might get some, heated discussions. But then, if it's not costing too much, if it's not like rocket science, we're going to try to implement it and see how it reacts in the game. And if it fits, we're going to keep it.
Okay, and from a design perspective, how different is the AI in Black Flag compared to Assassin's Creed 3? Is it any different? Or is it kind of using the same kind of principles?
It uses the same basis, but as we wanted more challenge, we really looked into ways of bringing back tension into steps. So they are more quickly to react to your presence. They have better accuracy. We increase the damage they do also. So it's not about punishing you, but it's about making you aware that if you go humble, it might be a bit tricky. And that's where we focus the most.
Would you say Assassin's Creed Black Flag is still a stealth kind of game at heart, or?
Assassin's Creed Black Flag is a game that is many games. And when we look at the playtest, every week we have playtest with like 8-10 people, and we observe them. And it's quite amazing. Throughout months of playtest, you can always see the same kind of behaviors. racing. You have like the Rambo guy. He's not going to care about anything. And he has a lot of fun. And in some mission, he has to mellow a bit, and he's quite enjoying that. And then you also have the ninja guy. He's staying in the bushes and you also have the guy in between that he's going to try the stealth approach, but if he messes up, he's going to go berserk, and he hopes it's going to work. And we try to sustain all these approaches. We just wanted to create a little bit more tension, because if you know that you are a fucking superhero and you can just cross the level and kill everyone, but then the game might become boring. You need to play a bit hard to get sometimes.
Okay. With the PS4 and Xbox One versions, how much have you pushed the hardware, considering your current knowledge of those systems? Is the PC version still like the superior platform?
I would say that they are very similar. After that, my bearded friend Silva will tell you more details about next gen, technically speaking.
Okay. To prevent a stagnation of the series, aside from the healthy sales, how have you attempted to keep Black Flag fresh, aside from the new setting and characters? I think you've already kind of touched a bit on that already.
Yes, I think it's naval open world and freedom of choice, and trying to have a game with an actual progression related to the ships. I think that these are the big new points. And at the same time, the feat of mixing an Assassin's Creed story with a pirate story was quite a feat. And what Darby did, what Darby achieved is really interesting. I think it's in fact one of the most exciting story in Assassin's Creed development.
I mean, you're no longer kind of an assassin character. You can do kind of assassin type activities like killing people, but you're more living the life of a pirate. That's the kind of approach. How do you feel about that in terms of the series and its roots, where you were an actual assassin and now you've changed to this kind of against the order, your own?
Yes. Okay, so I think it matches in fact the experience you're gonna have. When you're in the open world, you're that pirate and you're just going to do whatever you want, wherever you want, looting and getting money and stuff. When you go in the missions, actually you go more toward the path of the just, I would say, the assassins. And what's interesting is that the journey of Edward Kenway is about this guy who's self-centered, doesn't give a damn about anything, and how he's going to discover that there might be more noble causes to follow. So you go from this very selfish guy to something else. So that's the story of the game.
A technical.
How are we doing question-wise?
A few more.
The mechanics of Assassin's Creed have always evolved. I mean,
I'm not sure you can answer this. There seems to be a shift towards free-to-play gaming on consoles at present, especially from Japanese publishers like Namco Bandai. Will we ever see a free-to-play model for Assassin's Creed?
I think anything is possible, but I'm not going to talk for the next project. But we were talking about opportunities a bit before. I think we'll see how the industry also shapes itself in the next years. You know, at some point in the 80s, it was all about arcade games, and they were conceived in order to force you to put a lot of money in order to finish the game. That was already a bit big to play. And then we had the consoles and the save games, and it evolved into something else. And then we had online and started to go into another direction. I think, it's going to evolve. When, I don't know.
So would you say Assassin's Creed, the series, is an open book as long as it fits within the lore that is set kind of before?
History is our playground. History is endless.
So you can go anywhere with the series. Okay, that's my last question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool.